Oh, all right. I put up a lot of crap today, but I'll go ahead and put this up too. Why not? So I saw some more talk about this left-right civil war. And to me, the thing is this. The real question is this. Is the U.S. redeemable? In many people's eyes, yes. Yes, it is for various reasons. They'll say, well, it's capitalist. Yes, there was racism and everything, but we're doing better on that. You know, and the thing is, there's a revolution going on right now, a revolution to try to recreate, reimagine the United States, to basically do a rebranding. Of course, it will fail. In my opinion, it will fail. But it's like the whole two wolves meme type of thing, where it's like realistically, yeah, you know that millions of people will die and everything else and setting fire to homes and whatnot. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know how awful it would be. But the other wolf is saying, do you really want to live like this? Do you really want to deal with these constant shutdowns, the incompetence that exists where it's like, well, we should get rid of this. We should get rid of that. We should, even on, even in a practical way, like, well, we should just stop using gas heat because it's bad for the environment. What about the fact that it's efficient? How can you use um, solar panels when the skies are cloudy? You know, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Also, of course, you could talk about the fact that with solar panels is that these are basically batteries and that they are very corrosive. They, you see these things rotting in some field and they're going to contaminate groundwater. But no one talks about that. The fact is that even with wind power, somebody's got to change out those motors, and those motors are still made, in smelting plants and everything else. Now, of course, it may be somewhat more environmentally safe because ultimately most iron in the world, most steel is recycled. So, like I say, I've seen some stuff here and there, but it's like back to the original point. Is the United States redeemable? The fact is that we're going to see immense changes occur. And we're going to see more and more of this sort of stuff, holding on to this idea of what America should be or what America was. And you realize it doesn't represent you. That's why people talk about these issues because they realize that this stuff does not represent them. You know, that's the whole idea of it. That's why people talk about civil war and revolution. That's the basic thing. They feel that this country does not represent them, and it never did. Whether it's the so-called right-wing boomer who feels it's like, well, we need to go back to an America where everyone had a job, and that's a fantasy. There were drunkards and everything else. There always have been. But the idea that, you know, all the natives were killed and whatnot, well, that's not completely true either. Maybe I'm promoting this alt-centrist point of view, but it's like, what are you holding on to? some LARP fantasy of what things should be. At the end of the day, it's all very ridiculous. You can talk about death and destruction, how awful it is. But the thing is, it's all ridiculousness, isn't it? It doesn't matter whether it's redeemable or not. It just comes down to whether or not you're willing to survive the system and you're willing to give lip service to it. That's all that matters, whether the Civil War happens or not. A lot of to me, a lot of these folks are just like, well, the Civil War, yeah, it's bullshit and millions of people would die. It's like, yeah, well, we know that. But what's your alternative? Just let things continue as they are? I'm sure you have disagreements with, the way the military is going or whatever, but well, war is bad though. It's like, yeah, then what do you expect to do? What do you expect to change the course of things? Are you just going to be a magapede and hope for Trump to do everything? No, you can't do that. Not realistically.